And we're back now with Governor Christie. Governor, Congress is back this week, and the first thing they've got to tackle is some sort of emergency stopgap legislation to keep the government from shutting down. But I know there are a lot of people in your party, especially on the Tea Party side, who say maybe just let the government shut down. Let's do not compromise on spending. You think it'd be a good idea to shut the government down?
I don't, unless that's the only way to forward your principles. And I think that they're going to be able to find a way to find compromise that protects the principles that, you know, the folks in my party got elected on and the ones that are important to Democrats. I mean, their job is to solve these problems and not just to stand in a corner and hold their breath. So, and I say that about both sides. So let's get together. They've got a week to figure it out. Let's get in the room and figure it out. I was a little surprised they took the last week off, to tell you the truth, given that this was looming. Why? I think most Americans want to know why they weren't at work. But they're getting back to work tomorrow, so let's get back to work and let's get it solved.
Well, what do you say to the Tea Party folks who say, look, I mean, it's our way or no way. We have simply got to stop this, and if it takes shutting down the government, shut it down.
Well, those are two different things, right? I mean, I think that you can accomplish the goals of downsizing government, of cutting spending, and you can do it in a way that I think Democrats will go along with you on. I mean, you have to have some fights, and that's fine, and as you know, I'm not, averse to a fight. But I think also you just have to get in a room and start working it out with people. That's what we've done in New Jersey, Bob. I mean, I have a Democratic legislature, and the things that I've accomplished with cutting spending and putting a cap on property taxes, cap on interest arbitration awards, reforming initially for new employees' pension and benefits. I've done that with a Democratic legislature. It means I don't get every ounce of what I want, but we get in a room and we work it out, and that's what they should do down here. And the president should lead on that.
Once they get this stopgap measure to keep the government running, then they have to take a vote on whether to raise the debt ceiling. What's your view on that?
My view on it is that it better be in line with also some real long-term commitments to cutting spending. You got to do both, and I think it's a good moment to force that conversation, and they should. And I just believe that if the president shows leadership on this, he can bring the parties together. That's what a president's for.
Let's talk about President Obama. What do you think of the job he's doing?
Listen, there's some things I like and there's some things I don't like. The spending has been out of control and not as advertised when he ran for president. And that's very disappointing to me. I'm not a fan of the health care reform, and I think it's unnecessarily hamstrung states, and I doubt that it's constitutional. Now, on the other side, as I said before, I like what he's done on education reform, and I think it's a Nixon to China kind of moment. We need a Democratic president to make these reforms in education and to lead the way. I like some of the things he's had to say on renewable energy, because I think we need to find a path to lower our dependence on foreign oil, and we can see what's going on in the Middle East this week, that it can turn things upside down for us. So I like some of the things he's been doing on that as well. But, overall, I didn't vote for him. And I doubt I'll vote for him next time.
A lot of Republicans, are giving hints, indications, and so forth that they may or may not seek the Republican nomination to run against Barack Obama. You have said in one of your more memorable quotes, if I have it, I'd have to commit suicide to convince people I'm not running. Well, you may or may not walk back from the ledge on that, but you haven't been all that kind, I guess is what I would say, to some of the people that do seem to be suggesting they're going to run. What do you like about the field so far, and what don't you like?
Well, we don't have a field yet, first of all. No one's declared. And what I've said is let's judge the complete field once they all get in. Lots of people can flirt with it, Bob, but it's an enormous decision to make the decision to run for president of the United States, an enormous personal commitment. When the team that we're going to field gets in there, then I'll make my evaluation of them. And I don't think I've said anything uncharitable about any of them. I've said some very nice things about Governor Daniels, but I've said those things because I really believe that Governor Daniels is speaking about the issues that need to be spoken about and has a track record in Indiana that proves he could actually do it. That doesn't mean I'd endorse Governor Daniels if he ran, but what it means is I think those are the things that other people who are considering running should be looking at, talking about, to have an honest conversation with the American people.
Well, what you have said is they've got to get out here and talk about these things that are going to be the issues, that you can't finesse it.
No, you can't finesse it, and you have to have unscripted moments. I mean, you cannot be blow-dried and, poll-tested and come out here. That's not what the American people want. They want somebody who's going to speak straight to them, and they want to ask you questions, and they want unguarded moments. That's when they can really judge your character.
Is that aimed at, say, Sarah Palin, who seems to talk to people mostly on her website and not and she doesn't do many interviews?
Well, I think it's aimed at all of them, but certainly when I first made that comment, it was in response to a question about Governor Palin, and I think if she wants to prove that she's ready for this, you got to have some unscripted moments. Now, she may very well be up to it, and if she is, good for her. But I think people want to see that. They're very much interested in her, so they want to see that about her to make a judgment as, can you trust somebody in the Oval Office who can do that? Unless you do those unscripted moments, I think it's hard to get the person to pull the lever for you.
I mean, do you think she's ready?
But listen, she's got to make that judgment herself. And you know what, Bob? I'll make my vote in the voting booth privately, like every other American.
All right. Let me ask you this. Some of the people on the right have sort of poked fun and made fun of Michelle Obama because she's been trying to get people to eat better. I know that you have done dieting, you have worked on your weight and so forth. You describe yourself as portly. What do you think about this criticism coming from the right of Michelle Obama because she's trying to keep people to eat better?
I think it's unnecessary. I think it's a really good goal to encourage kids to eat better. You know, I've struggled with my weight for 30 years, and it's a struggle. And if a kid can avoid that in his adult years or her adult years, more power to them. And I think the First Lady's speaking out well. I mean, I don't want the government deciding what you can eat and what you can't eat. I still think that's your choice. And I think Mrs. Obama being out there encouraging people in a positive way to eat well and to exercise and to be healthy, I don't have a problem with that.
Governor Christie, thank you so much. I hope you'll come back to see us.
Absolutely.